Hello to all. This is Dia Nana, and I wanted to come quickly and share. On Facebook, I have where I follow sometimes with Safe Space with Shay, where they are about not just about your mental health, but she finds and interviews with people, with other therapists and doctors about their points of view of how to get therapy. Now, I used to be one to be like, don't nobody need no therapist. That's why we got God. I used to be like that. But as I was tuning in more with her, I was like, yeah, sometimes we do need, to actually hear a person talk to us, or like there are times where we know God is our comforter, God is our everything. We're human, and sometimes we need that flesh of a hug, to actually sit with somebody and hear a voice, and hear their feedback of whatever you're feeling. Is good to sometimes hear a feedback in the physical with someone you trust. So I'm learning, and I was like, so when I watched this one that was called with it was on grief. She was speaking on grief, and I think her name is I hope I'm not saying it wrong. It's Dr. McKell, but she's on there in an interview with Safe Space with Shay. So as she was talking about grief, and what pulled on to me was when she said, "You're born with grief," and I was like, wow. The moment that you're born, she was like, you're born with grief. So God started speaking to me, and like pointing out to me, like, of a better understanding of when she just said those words. The whole thing was good. The whole interview was like really, really life experience learning. But the only thing, like I said, at that moment that just stuck to me, and I'm like, God didn't let it go. And he was speaking to me about a better understanding about the moment that you are born. He was like, when we are born, that moment we breathe, taking that first deep breath when a baby is being born, like, and then what it does, when it lets out a cry. So that moment is the beginning of everything we're going to experience, of the feeling. And right now, that baby was very comforted where it was secured at, because this is all it knows right when it's being produced and getting bigger and bigger. And all it knows is that womb, that comfort, that warm comfort, that soothing comfort of hearing the mama's voice so close and being so warm and just being taken care of. No one's touching him, no one's bothering him or her, and they're just being so well protected. So now when they're being born and they taking that first deep breath of life out here in the world, they're now where we have to protect them outside the womb, and they don't know that right away, because now they're going to experience everything of a feeling of outside. And I know people have said, like, weeping, you should weep when a baby's born, and rejoice when someone passes away. And I know those things are hard to put together, because it's very hard to put together. But in the Bible, it says in Romans 12, it says, rejoice with them that do rejoice, and weep with them that weep. So rejoice when someone's rejoicing, and weep when they weep. Rejoice when they're rejoicing. Be like, congratulations, and I'm happy that you're happy. And then when there's weeping, you comfort them in a way that you feel that you can comfort them, even with words. A hug, a simple hug can embrace so much, so much. So back to a baby. When that baby is born and now it's got to experience all the worldly stuff, you know, that first deep breath of life, and now to be born into this world where they're gonna face challenges of just living, um, even physical challenges and all this. Now the doctors got to touch and mess with them all the time, and now they're being touched and outside like, what is this, what's, you know, and the only comfort they really feel is when they're being handed to their mom, like, oh, you know. So with that being said, like, as I looked at just them words, how a baby, right when they're born, they experience everything. Like, they're gonna experience fear, happiness, joy, everything you can think of, every word you can think of, they're gonna experience that. So that's why it's very important when you have a baby. Don't look at how everybody says, oh, you got them spoiled. I say they too, but I say spoiled with love. So you're not spoiling them when you're holding them all the time. You're comforting their security because as they were in the womb, they were always being held and comforted and in warmth. So that's why it doesn't bother a baby when they be snugged up all in your arms and you're hot, but they're not. They're like, ooh, this is the best sleep ever, because they feel like they're back in that comfort, you know. So when you have your babies, it's so important to pray over them because they have to experience the life of the real world, and just pray over them that, you know, whatever comes their way, that say, Lord, give me what I can do for them, you know, when they're going through that point. Because that's why a lot of times mothers and fathers who are well connected with their kid, they know how to figure out what's wrong with their kid. Like when they hear a certain cry, or how certain babies have little pouting attitudes, and even as they grow older, you figure out, like my son, he's 18, but I can tell when he has something to say, like something's bothering him, and we just look at him. Me and my husband can look at him like, yeah, he's got something on his mind, and we'll ask him and ask him until he lets us know. And that's just part of being that comfort to our kids, because not only God is our everything, he gives us too to share that part of life with our kid in the physical. Now as your kids get older and older, they will learn more of the spiritual connection with the Father, with God. So when your baby is born, pray over them and be patient with them. They're going to go, at least through their first whole year, you want to be very, very careful who holds your child, um, whose spirit is it around, because you want to protect your child just the same way you protected them in your womb. And they need all that hugging and kisses and the feeding. You know, if you don't feed them, then they lack nourishment, you know. So you're still supposed to do more of the things, even more when you carry them in the womb, is more work when they're born, because they're going to experience a lot of stuff now, the real life coming out of the womb. So like this is going to be the beginning. Like I said, this is the beginning. Right when they take that deep breath, this is the beginning of them feeling all the feelings of the sad, joy, cry, laughter. And you want to be there to comfort that and to be part of that and to embrace that and to help them out whenever they need that help out. So I just wanted to quickly share about that, and just wanted to encourage someone that when we all say you're spoiling your baby, you're spoiling, no, you're spoiling it, but with love, because there's not enough love you can pour out. There's no measure in loving. And so just keep loving your babies and pour out to them, pray over them, because now when they're born is the beginning of all them feelings that we already feel and what we got to carry on and do. Like my mom, when a baby is like sleeping and it just does like that and it pouts, my mom be like, yeah, that was when you was pregnant. That's what the baby did. When it can feel your feelings. So there is a lot going on with the baby in the womb and out. So we're in the place, God puts us in the place in the physical to be that comforter, hands on. And as they get older, God will be the comforter spiritually. And this is why we're parents, to be comforters in the natural, in the physical. So I just wanted to express that to everyone because it kept coming to me and I just thought I shared it. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you all.